and today we are going to replace a lower LCD on a Nintendo DS Lite. The first thing we want to check is we're going to open up the DS, we're going to take a look, and we're going to make sure that the lower, the touch screen is working. As you can see, the lower LCD has been cracked, so we're going to touch the screen. The way you want to test your touch screen is you're going to tap, and then you're going to hit here on the lower center, and that's going to bring you to the menu. So I'm going to hit where the settings should be, and you can see up here on the upper LCD that we've advanced. We're going to hit here, and we can see that the touchscreen's responding. So tap here down at the bottom at the go back, and again, and then this takes us to the menu where it asks us if we want to leave. We hit yes, and it's going to shut it off. Alright, so we know that the touch screen is working, and now we are going to take this thing open and replace the lower LCD. You're going to need tools. The first tool you will need, most important, is the tri-ring screwdriver. This is needed for some of the screws on the back. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, a small one, either a plastic spudger or a small flathead screwdriver, tweezers, and also an X-Acto blade. Alright, and now we're going to flip it over and open it up. On the back here, you're going to have 4 tri-wing screws. You have one here, 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 and right here under the battery cover. And you're going to have 3 Phillips head screws under this, and then one right here. And then we're going to open up the battery cover. Take out the battery. And we're going to remove the rubber pads here on the bottom. Now we're going to remove our Phillips screws here, here, and here. And it is important to remember to keep your screws in order, because certain screws go into certain places, and not all screws will fit into different places. And then the tri-wings here, 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 and here. Alright, now before we open the unit, you need to make sure you remove your Game 2 slot. That way you don't rip the board apart. Now we're going to lift the case, use our flathead screwdriver to slide around the side to the front, and then here you're going to lift to separate that and continue to slide around and lift the case off. Alright, you're going to remove your left and right shoulder buttons, and there's springs you have to detach, so you're going to want to hold it. That way your pins don't come out and you release the springs. They're a little bit of a pain to put back together. Alright, you have to disconnect your microphone and your antenna wire. the microphone, you just take your flathead screwdriver, pry both of these up, lay this one over to the side. Same with the antenna. The antenna you're going to have to feed under the game slot. You're going to want to straighten the wire out and pull it through. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to rip the end of it, of the antenna wire, off of the line. Alright. Now we have two more Phillips head screws on the motherboard, here and here. We're going to remove both of these screws and set them aside. And now we'll be able to lift the motherboard out of the unit. You're going to want to open and push in from the touch screen and lay the board over. And you're going to disconnect this ribbon cable. You can either use a fingernail or you can use a pair of tweezers. We don't recommend you use the X-Acto blade. You could use the small flathead screwdriver if you'd like. Now that we've got the top unit off, we can set that to the side. Alright, to remove the lower LCD and touchscreen, you have a clip here, and on the back, you have a clip here. So we're going to remove both of those clips, starting with the smaller of the two. You can either use your flathead or your X-Acto blade, and you're going to lift right here on the front, and that'll open it. Use the back of the X-Acto blade to pull out the ribbon cable. So you can see it's very small and delicate, so be careful with that. And we use my fingernail and open up that clip, and we can just pull it straight out to the side. Now that we're done with that, we're left with just our lower LCD and touchscreen assembly. So you have the lower LCD. As you can see, the back is insulated, and that is important. And then you have the touchscreen, which sets on top. You're going to have to use your X-Acto blade. And in the middle between the two, there's a double-sided small rubber sticky pad that you're going to remove. So you're going to insert your X-Acto blade underneath and be very careful removing it. You do not want to scratch your touch screen, being as this unit is a bad lower LCD. We're not too worried about the lower LCD, but if your lower LCD is good and you were replacing the touch screen, you would want to be very careful to not damage your lower LCD. Alright. Now we have that separated. We can peel it up and lay it over. And there's our bad lower LCD. Now we have a new lower LCD here. It's got a film on it. Sometimes you might see a marker across the film. Screen's not cracked. It's just this removable film here to keep fingerprints off. So what we're going to do, and the best way to place your lower LCD and touchscreen together, they do need to be aligned very precisely. If you take your upper unit, it's got all your game pads here. We're going to take our lower touchscreen and we're going to set that inside of the shell. And you can use the back of the X-Acto blade here to set it into position. being as you do not want any fingerprints between your lower LCD and touchscreen, you'll want to, just before you place the touchscreen on, remove the film. Alright, so your touchscreen is going to sit just like this. So we're going to remove the film off of the lower touchscreen, or the lower LCD, and we're going to seat it right over the touchscreen here and press it down. Sometimes when you separate the lower LCD and the touchscreen, that adhesive will come off. If you've ordered a shell change kit along with your other parts, you'll get a piece like this. It has both an insulating layer here, a large square to put on the back of the lower LCD, and it also has another sticky that would go around the lower LCD and be between the touchscreen and the LCD. And that's important. If you don't place this small layer between the LCD and the touchscreen, every time you touch your touchscreen, you're going to see lines appear in your lower LCD. So we're going to take the large pad here to insulate the back, and we're going to set it down just like that. You don't want to remove the back because it is adhesive on both sides, and you don't want it sticking to your board. If you do not have a repair kit, you can always just use electrical tape to insulate the back of it, and you will want to cover all metal surfaces with the electrical tape. If you don't, once you power the unit back on, it might happen right away, it might happen after a minute or two, but you will blow the F2 fuse. So, and that is a very small fuse located right here on the board. If you don't have any experience with soldering, that's a job that you can send in to the Nintendo repair shop, and we would be able to do that for you. Alright, now that we have the back of our lower LCD insulated, we can go ahead and take our motherboard and we can reattach everything. So we're going to line up the clip here and get our ribbon cable in. I prefer to use tweezers. You could use a fingernail, but it has very small tabs that you can use to squeeze it in, and then you just push down the lock. Now we're going to flip the unit over, and you have the very small ribbon cable here, and you have the touchscreen clip. You have to seat the ribbon cable properly in it, otherwise you won't get a good connection, and once you have the unit together, it won't respond. So you get it in, and then you push the touchscreen clip down until it clicks. While you're looking inside of it, you will be able to see the ribbon cable going all the way in as far as it will go. And now we're ready to reassemble the unit. So we're going to take our upper half of the shell